guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today I am going to tell you guys another story, but we're going to start by popping open the live well and let a fish go. Now here's why I'm doing that. A little bit of background on what's going on. Sometimes we tell you giant bass stories. Sometimes we tell you fail stories or embarrassing stories. Today I'm going to tell you an embarrassing one. I'm going to tell you the story of my worst tournament finish ever. Now I'm not going to tell you about blanking in a tournament. Anybody can tell you that story, right? If you fished enough tournaments, at some point you blanked. No big deal. It'd be too easy to tell you that. Have I blanked in a tournament? Sure, I've blanked in a tournament. But I'm going to do you one better than that. I'm going to tell you a story so much worse than blanking, so much more embarrassing. But first, we're going to get this girl out. Look at that old girl. Blind in one eye. Beautiful fish. Totally clean on this side. Haggard on that side. That one's had a tough life. We're going to let her go. Now, why did I start by getting this fish out of the box? Here's why. You see that bass right there? She by herself, at 7 pounds, weighs more than my entire limit that I am going to tell you about. Let's let her go. See you, girl. All right, so here's the deal. I was in a tournament with my brother. My brother and I used to be tournament partners. We were on Collins Lake. Now, if that sounds familiar to you, it should. Making this even worse, Collins Lake is where Tim got his 15-pounder. That's where he got his PB. So there are giants in the lake. It's not like we didn't have some potential. So here's the deal. My brother and I were in a tournament on Collins Lake. It's wintertime. It's a tough bite in all fairness. Blanking, that happens. But weighing in a limit for 4.97 pounds. That should never happen. Let me be clear. I weighed a 5 bass limit. 5 bass that did not weigh a pound apiece. And I actually took them to the scales and turned them in. 4.97 for 5. Now I was young. This happened, I was probably 16 years old, 15 years old. Fishing with my brother. We were team partners for years. But it was a good day too. That's the cruddy part. Here's what we were actually doing. So, finesse bite. My brother was on the front throwing a jig. And we used to throw these little jigs. And they're discontinued now, but now we throw finesse jigs, practically the same thing. But a brown and orange jig, Yamamoto double tail grub trailer. What's it tell you that I remember all these details all these years later? And when things go sideways for me, I never forget about them. I remember the big fish and I remember the tiny fish. So there's my brother, front of the boat, throwing this old jig, and he was whacking them. I'm in the back of the boat and I was split shotting. Not drop shotting, not Carolina rig, split shotting. 2 little split shot, little BB split shot, 18 inches of line to a tiny hook, like a size 2 hook. And then I was throwing a little 4-inch magic worm. And I was dragging behind the boat while he was fishing out the front. That was our game plan. That was like our big game plan. How are we gonna win a tournament? Let's go drag a 4-inch worm around. Genius, right? So Collins Lake, there's a lot of sunk brush. They did like habitat restoration. So there were these big brush lines. That's what we were fishing. We'd drag that bait down the edge of the brush. He'd throw the jig in the brush, I'd drag the edge. We caught fish all day long from like 15 to 35 feet. They were deep. So we got our limit. And the thing was, we really believed. How screwed up was my head? We really believed maybe if we took these fish to weigh in, they would be worth something. Just maybe. No, they were not worth anything. Now, there were no monster bags, but it was one with like 13 or 14 pounds. And there were plenty of bags in like the 6, 7, 8 pound range. And there were some guys who blanked. And I don't know if they blanked or not. They might have dumped their fish. They were smarter than us. At least they didn't come to the scales with 4.97. I will never forget that. I am still embarrassed about it today, but not too embarrassed to tell you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hands down, the cruddiest tournament I ever fished. I've done worse, and I've done a lot better, but I've never done more embarrassing. So, no matter what happens when you're on the water, odds are you're not weighing fish that tiny. It is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed me dredging up this miserable story from the past. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. I promise the next one will be a big bass story. We'll tell you about another monster. Maybe show you one better than that one instead of telling you about this sucky day from way back when that I still cannot get out of my brain. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.